Hello, friends. Welcome to A Little View podcast, the podcast where the perspective may be small, but the conversations are anything but small. I'm Gwen, your podcast host, a soon-to-be dietitian, a health coach, and an advocate. This is a podcast where we talk about things that aren't talked about. We're the voice for the unrepresented. We're having empowering conversations about healing your mind, body, and soul. And we're bringing on guests to share their inspiring stories. This is A Little View podcast. And I just want to say a little disclaimer that this podcast is for educational purposes only. It is not medical advice. Always talk to your doctor about your own health journey first. And today we have James Ayers on the podcast. And James is truly someone who embodies what it means to step out of your comfort zone and change, doing something that scares you, but doing it anyways. James has moved across the country a couple times. He has picked up running and he is public speaking, all things he was afraid to do, but he did it anyways because he knew it would better himself. So I am so excited to have James on the podcast today and just give us some insight of what his thinking is and how he does it, how he challenges himself, how he doesn't listen to the voices inside his head. I just can't wait to hear. And without further ado, though, let's just jump into it and have James talk about himself a little, just introduce himself a little.
I was born with achondroplasia. I'm in Tianjin, China. And when I was 2, I was adopted by my lovely parents, Kim and Jeff Ayers. And then they brought me back to Lucas, Texas, where I was raised pretty much my entire life. Then went up to school in Oklahoma State, got my degree in business administration with majoring in finance and a minor in accounting. For work, I am a senior assistant director of finance at Merit International in Chicago. And for hobbies, I'm picking it up, but trying to be consistently more of a runner. And outside of that, just trying to work on my chipping game, my long driver with golf, and hang out with my cat whenever I'm alone.
And you said that you not recently, but you moved from Texas to Chicago. Can you tell us a little bit more about that?
Yeah, well, so it actually spans back a little bit farther than that. So with Merit International, it actually dated back to going into my senior year, my last semester of college. At the career fair, I met with a recruiter with Merit International, had a great conversation with her. And basically just told me about the internship opportunities available with Merit International. And at the time,
And before I cut you off, what is Merit International again?
Merit International is the world's largest hotel lodging company. It's comparable to Hilton, IHG hotels. Yeah. So it's just a hospitality brand and the one with the largest portfolio. So it's been a great, great getting to work for such a great company. So met with the recruiter, and kind of went through the stages of an internship. She really sold the brand really well. So ultimately decided to go with that internship. But so the catch with that was she didn't offer at the time. There wasn't any offerings for Dallas locations. It was all out of state. It was either New York, California, or Jacksonville. So I went with Jacksonville. And the conversation with my parents, they really just instilled the message of go chase it, go do this. I know it's going to be far from home, over 1,000 miles away for a full summer, but of course we know that you'll be back, and excited to see the growth that you've kind of had from that internship. And so really started with that. So took my Infinity, drove all the way to Jacksonville, Florida, lived there for the entire summer, of course, and also a post-grad program, of course, for a career, and kind of really got sold on that. I mean, I was going into that conversation, I was already kind of sold. They offer what it's called a Voyager Leadership Development Program, which is for for post-grads that are trying to be upcoming leaders in the industry, in the company. That first position was in Dallas, so I was close to home, and so not too far.
And how was it moving from Texas to then Jacksonville, knowing that you had no family there, knowing you had no one there, and
Yeah.
you had to basically create a whole new environment and a whole new life, and you didn't know anyone.
I mean, it was really kind of just making a routine and then kind of sticking to it. I made a really, really great friend um, at at that internship, so it didn't feel um, not quite lonely, but it was definitely nice having a great friend that I made at that internship. But also, of course, she kind of introduced me to her friend group,
Mhm.
which made the summer that much more special. Being surrounded by a great group of friends. But of course, kind of going back to the routine, just finding myself in a routine where it made I don't know the best word for it, but I guess made it as to if like I didn't even really notice or realize like so far
Leaving.
away from yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Mhm.
So that and then just a great group of people to surround yourself with. So I've never really had an issue with making new friends.
And would you say in the beginning when you had those other internships, part of you was unsure to do that?
I kinda took a step back. One thing there is a tendency to overanalyze certain situations, and the reason I ultimately did it was because, of course, it was an opportunity not only just for a summer internship, but also, of course, for a possible career.
I like what James is saying here because he isn't saying it wasn't scary, but also what he isn't saying it wasn't scary. What he is saying is he looked into the future and realized that if this this opportunity could actually could actually benefit him in the long run if he takes it instead of not taking it. For sure.
Weighing the opportunity cost when I kind of first thought about it, I I know I wouldn't say there was any hesitation at all with kind of like after having the conversation with my parents, it was more so just like I think the biggest worry was just like finding a living situation.
For
So
sure. Yeah.
that was like that honestly out of the when it came to the decision making process, that's what it boiled down to is like where's the best for a living arrangement for a summer internship.
And that's what and I totally get that because that's what I'm currently going through right now, is
Mhm.
I'm doing a summer internship, in Florida, and it's been quite scary knowing that I'm gonna leave my whole family, and it's gonna be for a couple months, and I'm staying with some people that, like, I would say are my friends, but I'm not, like, super close to them, but, like, I'm friends enough to obviously stay with them, but the scary thing is, like we said, like, getting out of your comfort zone, doing it, and
Mhm.
just pushing yourself to do it, and I know once I get there, I'm gonna be fine, but just,
Yeah.
like, the thought of I can't just go to my family's house. I mean, I live with my dad, and I know in the long run, I'm not gonna live here forever,
Mhm.
but I'm going to be living on the other side of the country and just learning how to do everything by myself.
Yeah.
It's scary, but you can do that. You're fully capable of doing that. And so you said you went to Jacksonville, and so now you're in Chicago. Tell me about that. How did that happen?
Towards the end of my Voyager program, so it's a 1 year program, and then after the completion of the program is um concluded, kind of openly apply to any position that's available on the market. My Voyager program ended in January of 2024, and I was applying starting probably October, November. But essentially, what happened was there's a lot of interviews that came back that told me that I lacked the exposure that at the position that I was applying for, assistant director of finance, needed in order to excel in at that role.
Mhm.
And basically, until probably I want to say February of 2025, 2024, um, I was kind of coming to the conclusion, or not even coming to the conclusion, that I wasn't ready for that next step. I wasn't ready for that next leap until I really got an opportunity to go on task force, which is kind of um, which I mean, ultimately was a great thing in my ultimate development as a Voyager. But I went on task force in the Dallas market, and they were trying to fill an assistant director of finance role. So I was basically the interim assistant director of finance. So I got exposure to every single thing. In April of 2024, saw, I guess, leading up to probably, I want to say February,
Mhm.
I was kind of dead set. I just wanted to stay in Dallas. I wanted to um, be close to family, be close to friends, and to the point where it came to the real, like, not realization, but it came to the thought of like, okay, so if I'm not able to find something, I probably should look
Yeah.
externally,
Yeah.
um, outside of the company, just so I can stay within my comfort zone, right? To stay within,
Exactly.
so I
Yep.
can stay closer, to which I'm glad that ultimately didn't happen. I wanna say 2 months of development at that property, at that task force property. I was given the opportunity to move up, the property.
A property, do you mean like you're at a hotel?
Yes. Yes,
Mhm.
I was specifically at a hotel. So the hotel I'm at now is in Sheraton Grand Chicago Riverwalk. So my director, my mentor, my leader, she had a great deal of belief in me, when I interviewed, kind of, like, yeah, so when I interviewed, and, ultimately she offered me the position as the assistant director to move up here to Chicago, and, um that one was a little bit more of a conversations with kind of like family and friends, just because, like, with an internship, of course, it's
You're gonna
a
go back.
yeah, it's 3-month internship,
Yeah.
and, with, of course, a job, you never, like, I still live here, still here, and I love it here, but, like, you never know truly, like, when you
Yeah.
ultimately move back, or what, or even if you move back at all. Um
Exactly.
so I kinda had a long conversation about it with my family, of course, first, and then kind of just talking to it about my friends, and they were all supportive um, of course, there's a Texan motto of, um, "You're not truly Texan unless one day you move," or it's like, I'm butchering it. I know I'm butchering it, but it's like, um, a true Texan always finds his way back home one day. But no, it's, uh
So what do you do? Do you work specifically at the hotel? What do you do in your job now?
Yeah, so I deal, kind of like my weekly, monthly deliverables is focusing on our labor productivity. So really partnering with our operations leaders
Mhm.
in reviewing their productivity metrics, their productivity, um, about, monthly, I maintain our, control submissions and
Mhm.
our, like, best practices. So I implement best standard operating practices, and, of course,
Oh.
local standard operating practices for our property to follow.
Do you think this shaped your independence going away from your family and moving out of your hometown?
Yeah, no, it actually did, tenfold, and, up until May of 2024, I had a car, so that was something new to get used to, kind of, um navigating public transportation, of course, is not that difficult,
Yeah.
like, that's a good example, right, of kind of a new way of kind of the day-to-day, the new routine.
And, um, how is it living in a big city, being a little person?
Honestly, the occasional stare, not too much though, and also kind of with me, it was definitely something that ate at me growing up,
Yeah,
with people, of course, publicly staring at my family and myself. Uh,
for sure. Because you grew up in all little people family, correct?
yes, yeah, my
Okay.
entire immediate family is, all LPs. No matter where you go, there's always gonna be those finger pointing
Yeah.
comments, you name it. The one thing that my dad always installed in me was to not necessarily care what others think of you when it comes to faith, kind of being proud of who the person God made you to be and formed
Exactly.
you. I mean, it's the exact same anywhere, but, like, kind of, like, drowning it out and just, going about my day.
Do you think you've had people maybe they doubted you because of your size, would you say? Or you've never really gotten that?
Actually, no, especially with my job currently where I'm at right now, it's, like, not even looked at, conversation or anything like that. Again, my leader, my director has instilled so much belief in me. She's truly been a vital part of my development, so I'm grateful that, of course.
And that always helps your confidence too when you have people around you because obviously your family is there to support you and your family loves you no matter what.
Mhm.
But you have those people around you that not only support you, but they see you past your, I don't really use this word a lot, but like your disability, like, they
Mm.
see who you are beyond that.
Yeah.
And to have someone actually in a leadership role see that and know your capabilities and know your worth, it always makes it better. And what would you say are some of like the biggest challenges or the biggest things you've learned overall moving away and getting out of your comfort zone?
I think the hardest thing with anything when it comes to a big move or a big change, is that first step. Motivating yourself to take the first step, but after you take that first step, of course. But so the biggest thing is, and it's a quote that Martin Luther King once said, and it's one I've kind of carried out throughout my childhood, early adulthood, and even to now. Faith is taking the first step without seeing the whole staircase. It kind of goes back to that message of the hardest thing when it comes to making a big move is taking that first step because there's always so many what ifs.
Yeah,
I'll speak for personal
for
experience.
sure.
There's so many what ifs that kind of like race through your mind
Mhm.
whenever you're presented an opportunity, whether it's your
Yeah.
career, whether it's spouse, whether it's you name it, school.
I feel like
Um,
any big change, you're always gonna be like, "Well, what if this happens? Well, what if this happens?"
but it's always I think it's always taking the first step is the most difficult. With me, it's like, all right, analyzing the opportunity cost. If I don't take this, then um, 3 years down the road or 5 years down the road, will it benefit me to be comfortable now, but then later down the road, kind of weighing that. But I think take that first leap, take that first jump, take
Yeah,
take the first step, right? Would be kind of like the biggest thing that I've kind of learned and gained from the movement that I've had because you ultimately don't know. It doesn't benefit anybody if you kind of just stick in your comfort zone your whole life.
for
Uh,
sure.
you know, so
And it seems like throughout your life, especially now, you've taken a lot of first steps. Another one is you public speak now. Can you tell me a little bit more about that?
growing up, I really much actually kind of hated public speaking. I guess I wouldn't really call it too much public speaking, but during our quarterly leadership meeting at the
Mhm.
property, I've asked my boss if I could be the one presents the financial
Yeah,
data every quarter because I know like, the best way to kind of overcome that is to just
do it.
yeah. Not only does it sharpen that, but it also sharpens kind of like the analyzation of the data itself. So it kills two birds with one stone. And then going back to the belief part, she knew I'm more than capable of doing that. She's really happy that I'm taking that step to do that. So yeah,
I mean, even you asking me to do this, I think that that's kind of a public speaking too, because
yeah,
I mean, not to like boost myself or anything, but there's quite a bit of people listening to this. So
hmm
telling your story, that's a growth opportunity too. That's public speaking. I mean,
yeah,
we've never met before. We've
yeah.
never talked on social media, nothing. So being this is doing something that you've never done before. So I think that is challenging yourself. And do you do that a lot? What kind of gave you the confidence to ask your boss, like, hey, can I start sharing now?
It went back to a conversation that I had with her. Like I think the upcoming leader town hall was coming up, and I was like, okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, would it be okay if I went ahead and presented it for finance? And she said, yeah, no, of course, I want you to um, do it and run with it. So I'm like, okay, heck yeah. And that's kind of like the whole conversation. Of course, she kind of just walked me through the presentation
Yeah.
material and how to put
Mhm.
that all together. But no, I mean, the conversation was kind of short and sweet.
To not only talk about that you're public speaking,
Uh-huh.
you also moved, but now we're going to talk, you are learning how to run. How
Yeah,
is that working? Because I mean, for me, like I work out a lot, but like when you think of someone running, like usually a lot of people are like, ugh, I hate running.
yeah.
So,
So it's actually a bet I lost with my boss. She is a big runner. So I think the second or third month I started with the property. We were at lunch, and I think um, I don't know how it sparked, but the question or the bet just became like, hey, if you can find at least one person with achondroplasia that's ran in a marathon, I'll run in a half. And she found 3 within like 2 minutes. I'm like, yeah, well, probably shouldn't have made that bet. So then, kind of just been, since then, kind of just been training for it.
And how do you train?
Um, Both kind of like a mixture. I mean, with indoor and outdoor. I mean, right now it's a little bit too cold to do outdoor,
Yeah.
in in Chicago. So, I'm on this current like training program. So I think the biggest thing with that is just being consistent. Not making it a chore, but trying to just to be consistent. And granted, I hate running. But I'm doing a 10K upcoming in April, and then the half is in October. So, but
Is
no, just
half 13?
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
30.
ran a 6 mile this Thanksgiving.
Yeah,
I did not train for it. And let me tell you, that
yeah,
was oof, that
yeah,
was bad. I like the part you said about sometimes those days when you're like you just got to go through it, but like not the motivation because one, we don't always have motivation.
yeah,
Like motivation's not always going to be there. But then also you don't want to be like the whole workout, I hate this, I hate this, I hate this. But like I think what I always do now especially the days I don't wanna work out, because I try to do about 60 minutes a day of working out,
mhm,
and those days when I don't wanna do it, I'm like, "No, I like thanking my body for being able to do this," instead of being like, "This sucks," being like, "Okay, body, thank you so much for being able to do this today, like,
yeah,
thank you so much for me." Because also at the end of the day, and I'm sure it's like with you with running, you may hate it, but you know once you're done, you're gonna feel so much better.
yeah. So, and I also think, um, because I'm not gonna lie to you, probably in elementary school and middle school, I feel like we all went through it though, but, definitely went through the
For
procrastination
sure.
phase,
Oh, yeah.
like, just trying to put something off.
Yeah.
Um, and so there are some times where I kind of find myself like, "Oh, I'll just do this tomorrow. I'll do it, you know,
Yes.
I'll do this 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 program tomorrow." And kind of just counteracting that with, what
And my last message, or my last, question I always ask my guests is, and I kinda said this, but we're gonna talk about it, like, in a different way, is my last question I always ask my guests is, if there was someone that you knew that was your friend per se, and
Mhm.
they wanted to challenge themselves with something, but they were scared to do it, what would you tell them? Yeah.
Take that leap. I think the biggest thing is, and at least for me, with my faith, just knowing that, of course, everything does happen for a reason.
Yep.
Um, and it all works according to a plan that was set out for my life. And so taking that leap, taking the first step
Mhm.
and seeing where it goes for you, I think is really the most important message. Um,
Mhm.
so kind of yeah, just do it, Nike, just do it.
Exactly.
But just, I think, yeah, just jump, take the leap. Cause ultimately you don't know where it's going to take you.
Thank you so much for being on my podcast today and talking about your journey and how you started, your thought process behind it all, and just what kept you going when it felt hard. So thank you so much. I hope everyone listening got something out of this, and I hope you realize what James said is just to do it. You'll never truly know if the opportunity is right for you unless you do it. You'll never know if you like the job, you never know if you won't like the job because if you don't do it, then how would you know? So I think you just gotta, I mean, not every opportunity, but when there's opportunities in your life, and if you can do it, just do it. Who
Yeah.
cares? Ignore what your brain says you're not good enough. Ignore that because that's not true. So thank you again, James, for being on my podcast. And make sure to like, subscribe, follow for more episodes just like this. Follow us on YouTube and Instagram. And we'll see you guys next time. Bye.